Welcome in here to another of my Pioneers live stream. It's that time of year. It's the start of the PGCBL playoffs, and the Pioneers are in it. And today they will be facing the Jamestown Tarpskunks in the first round of those playoffs. Hello, everyone. I am Alex Strippert, and I will once again be your play-by-play broadcaster today. The Pioneers entered today's playoff game as the number 2 seed, so they will be hosting here at the Dunn Field, historic Dunn Field. They'll be taking on the Jamestown Tarpskunks, like I said. And taking a look at that playoff bracket, I made a custom playoff bracket. You can see the Pioneers are down at the bottom as the number 2 seed. They'll be playing Jamestown. The winner of today's game will then advance to the second round for the division championship game to play the winner of the number 1 seeded Batavia Muck Dogs and the number 4 seeded Auburn Doubledays. And that game will be going on at the same time as this Jamestown Elmira game. So I will be keeping you guys updated throughout that. On that throughout this broadcast. And then, of course, the winner of tomorrow's division championship game will be then the champion of the Western Division, and then go on to play the champion of the Eastern Division for the overall PGCBL League Championship. That'll be a 3-game series between the champion of the West and the champion of the East. On all likelihood, it'll be Amsterdam who comes out of the East. And, of course, the Pioneers trying to make a run to that championship series. And the start of that is today. But, of course, it is a dangerous time here in the playoffs where anything can happen. In the Pioneers, it is one and done in this first part of the PGCBL playoffs. So that means if the Pioneers lose either today or tomorrow, they will be eliminated and their season will be over. So this is for everyone's seasons are on the line here in these next 2 days. And so the stakes have never been higher for these two teams. And, of course, the Pioneers are rooting for the Auburn Doubledays to pull off an upset in Batavia so that then they can play at home once again tomorrow if they are able to defeat Jamestown. And the Pioneers, they will be switching it up today. They'll be wearing their all-red home uniforms with their white pants and red caps. They have gotten rid of and auctioned off most of their blue jerseys, so they'll be wearing their red home jerseys with the Pioneer on the front throughout the entirety of their playoff run. Jamestown wearing their road blacks with the blue stripes and the black caps. As you can see, the coaches meeting is about to go down here. This game is scheduled to start at 4:05, and I believe, as far as I know, it's going to start on time. There's no rain, no weather problems here at all today in Elmira. It is a beautiful, beautiful afternoon, Sunday afternoon here at the Dunn. It is a packed house tonight. Of course, it was free admission today, to get in to this playoff game. So a lot of people are here. The cars are still pulling into the parking lot behind Dunn Field to come in and witness this playoff game. And now I'm going to start by reading through the starting lineups for each team. I'll be starting off with the visiting Jamestown Tarpskunks. Leading off for the Tarpskunks, it'll be number 38, Grady Mead, the shortstop. Batting second, it'll be number 11, Tommy Googins, the second baseman. Batting third, it'll be number 17, Henry Juan, the catcher. Batting fourth, it'll be number 7, Evan Fragela, the designated hitter. Batting fifth, it'll be number 20, Matt Thompson, the third baseman. Batting sixth, it'll be number 22, Kieran Gagnon, the left fielder. Batting seventh, it'll be number 39, Zach Kent, the center fielder. Batting eighth, it'll be number 23, Drew Garth, the right fielder. Batting ninth, it'll be number 27, Cooper Munro, the first baseman. And batting 10th, it'll be number 24, Colin Hoke, the extra hitter today for the Tarpskunks. And on the mound today in this round 1 playoff game with each team's seasons on the line, the Tarpskunks will be giving the start to number 12, Evan Chaffee. He will be starting on the mound for the Tarpskunks today. And now I'm going to read through the Elmira Pioneers starting lineup. Interesting to note, the Pioneers are only hitting 9 batters today. You may have noticed that I said that Jamestown is hitting 10, and that is correct. Jamestown is hitting 10, but Elmira has opted to only hit with 9 today. So they're going with their 9 most potent bats to try and get as many hits from them as possible and trying to get as many runs as possible. Leading off today for the Pioneers in the playoffs, round 1, it'll be number 2, Dom Presto, the shortstop. Batting second, it'll be number 77, Joe Muzio, the third baseman. Batting third, it'll be number 10, John Schroeder, the catcher. Batting fourth, it'll be number 8, Cooper Smith, the left fielder. Batting fifth, it'll be number 44, Chris Baer, the second baseman. Batting sixth, it'll be number 14, Jake Keller, the first baseman. Batting seventh, it'll be number 30, Cam Levesque, the center fielder. Batting eighth, it'll be number 42, Spencer Ubben, the right fielder. Batting ninth, it'll be number 24, Eric Charnetsky, the hometown boy, the designated hitter today. And on the mound today, starting for the Elmira Pioneers, it will be number 49, Gardner Meeks, who will be getting the start today in this playoff game at round 1 of this playoff tournament. And I believe both coaches are actually waiting for the umpires to come out. Both coaches are just talking down there. Both managers for both teams. Head coach Andrew Drum is down there for the Pioneers and talking with the head manager for Jamestown. And of course, I want to talk a little bit about how the Pioneers got to this spot. They got the number 2 seed because they lost last night at Auburn. They lost 1-0. That's the second time during the regular season that the Pioneers lost a game 1-0. And so it was a really tough loss last night. Nick Montagna was unbelievable. He threw 8 innings, only gave up 1 earned run on 5 hits last night at Auburn. He was dynamite, considering he has only thrown twice this entire season for the Pioneers. And Auburn had to throw out 3 of their best pitchers in order to match Montagna. So it was an unreal game. Pioneers had several opportunities to try and tie up that game. They ultimately came up a little bit short, which is why they got the 2 seed. And Batavia, of course, took care of business last night against Niagara. 9-2 the final in that one last night. And so Batavia got the 1 seed because they won and the Pioneers lost. Which means then, of course, the Pioneers are heavily rooting for the Auburn Double Days in that other round 1 playoff game. Because if the Double Days win, that means that if the Pioneers can take care of business, then the Pioneers would host round 2. They'd be back here at the Dun tomorrow to play the division championship game. It would be against Auburn. And, of course, Auburn was the one team that really nobody wanted to see in the playoffs. But, of course, because Batavia beat Niagara and the Pioneers could not beat the Double Days themselves last night, Auburn snuck in as the 4 seed. And Batavia will have the unfortunate task of trying to deal with those guys. I wish them the best of luck. I truly believe that Auburn is the scariest matchup to face in these playoffs. And so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. But, of course, the Pioneers can't be scoreboard watching too much in that game. They got to take care of business here themselves against Jamestown, considering, like I said before, it is win or go home for both teams today. Whoever loses, their season will be over. Both teams had a fantastic run in their regular seasons. Taking a look at the regular season standings, you can see Elmira up there at second. At 27-17, they had a fantastic regular season considering last year their regular season record was 24-21. So a major improvement this season from their last season's regular season record. And then you could see Jamestown in there right below as the 3 seed. They finished at a respectable 23-18. And so Jamestown and Elmira, the 2 and the 3 seeds, going at it here today. It's a beautiful day here. You can see, as I actually turn back to my camera here, you can see the umpires are finally out there. So this game is going to be coming and starting shortly, excuse me. I already read through the lineups. I'm going to take a quick break and step away from the mic as the lineups are going to be read out here, and then the national anthem will happen. And once the national anthem is over, I will come back and talk more about the starting pitcher today for the Elmira Pioneers, which will be number 49, Gardner Meeks. A very nice rendition of the national anthem there, as now the colors are being retired and this game is about to get underway here. Round one of the playoffs for the Pioneers. Pioneers, of course, looking to make a deep run in the playoffs this year, as the colors are being retired right now. And so now, as the colors have been retired, I want to talk more, as I said before, about number 49, Gardner Meeks, who will be making the start today for the Pioneers in this round one playoff game. This pivotal game for the Pioneers. They have to win to stay alive, and Meeks will be the man on the mound. Number 49, Gardner Meeks, making his third start of the season. He also has 11 appearances on his record. He has a 1.0 ERA in 36 innings pitched. He's only given up 20 hits, 6 runs. Only 4 of those runs were earned. 16 walks, and has 38 strikeouts this season. Not to mention a 3-1 win and loss record and 4 saves on his resume. And not to mention also that he was a PGCBL All-Star for the Pioneers this year. He was one of 6 players on the Pioneers roster selected to the All-Star team this year. He is only one of 2 All-Stars that still remain on the roster for the Pioneers. Him and John Schroeder, who are both playing today, are the only 2 All-Stars left on the roster. Meeks, last time we saw him pitch was on July 26th versus Newark, where he threw for 4 innings, only gave up 4 hits, and had 4 strikeouts in that ball game. So Meeks has been dynamite for the Pioneers all season. He is so hard to get hits off of because of the 3 different arm angles that he pitches at. He has an overhand throw, he has a sidearm throw, and then he has a submarine low scooping throw. And when he gets all 3 of those arm angles to be working with his combination of deadly pitches, it is impossible for hitters to get hits off of him. And so Meeks is feeling it today. It's going to be a very long day for Jamestown. And, of course, I'm also hoping that the Pioneers' bats come up and do a much better job than what they did last night. Obviously, last night didn't really matter too much whether the Pioneers won that game or lost that game. They knew they were either going to be playing Niagara or Jamestown. But the bats did not quite show up in the way that I liked last night. And so I would love to see them get a lead here early, get on the board early. That's something that they couldn't do at Auburn last night. I would love to see them be able to do that here against Jamestown today. But of course, Meeks will be on the mound first to start this game, as he is warmed up now, and this game is about ready to get going. Leading off for the Tarpskunks here, it'll be number 38, Grady Mee, the shortstop. And Grady Mee, so far in the regular season for the Tarpskunks, has a .298 batting average in 35 starts. He has 27 runs, 34 hits, 6 doubles, 3 triples, 14 RBIs, 19 walks, and 25 strikeouts this season for the Tarpskunks. And Meeks will look into Grady Mee, and this game is about to get underway. Meeks now will set, deal, swing, and it's popped back foul in this round one playoff match has officially started. 0-1 the count to Grady Mee. No outs here in the top of the first. Meeks looks in, 0-1. And he will now set, deal, that is in there. Cold strike 2 right down Broadway. And the count quickly goes 0-2 to Grady Mee. Meeks, his first strikeout opportunity of the day in the first batter that he has to face in this ball game. Meeks will look in, 0-2 the count to Grady Mee. Meeks now will set, deliver, that is down low in the dirt for ball 1. So the count will now go 1-2 to Grady Mee. No outs here still in the top of the first. Meeks can still pick up the strikeout here against Grady Mee on this 1-2 count. Meeks, 1-2, will now set, deal, swing and a miss by me. He goes down swinging. That is a strikeout for Gardner Meeks, and that will put 1 out on the board here in the top of the first. A very good start to the ball game for Gardner Meeks. And that immediately puts 1 out on the board in the top of the first. And now that'll bring up number 11, Tommy Googans, the second baseman. Googans, so far this season, has a .258 batting average in 30 starts for the Tarpskunks, 17 runs, 25 hits, 20 RBIs, 20 walks, and 10 strikeouts so far. Meeks now will set, deal, that is in there. Called strike one, right down Broadway once again. 0-1 the count to Googins. One out here in the top of the first. Meeks will look in and now set, deal, that is just upstairs for ball one. And the count will even up at aces wild here. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here in the top of the first to Googins. Meeks 1-1. Will now set, fire. That one is just upstairs and outside for ball two. So 2-1 the count as Googins will take the lead. 1 out here in the top of the first. Meeks looks in 2-1. And he will now set, deal, swung on it, popped up into center. Levesque coming under, and he will make the play. And that'll be a fly up by Googins to put 2 outs on the board here in the top of the first for Gardner Meeks. And now that'll bring up number 17, Henry Juan, the catcher today for the Tarpskunks. Juan so far has led, is leading the team in batting average for the Tarpskunks. He has a .309 in 22 starts. He has 11 runs, 21 hits as Meeks will set, fire. That one is in there. Called strike one. 0-1 the count to Juan. 2 outs here in the top of the first. Juan also has 10 RBIs, 13 walks, and 12 strikeouts. Meeks 0-1 will now set, deal, that is in there. Called strike two. Just caught the outside edge of the plate with the fastball. And Meeks looking for his second strikeout here to end the top of the first inning. Meeks looks in 0-2. He will now set, deal, that is down low and outside for ball one. Meeks tried to get Juan to chase that pitch. He didn't. And so the count will go 1-2 now. 1-2 the count to Juan. Meeks now will set, deliver, that is upstairs and outside, ball two. So the count will now even up at deuces wild here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the first. Claps going here at done for Meeks. Meeks now will set, fire. That in is just inside for ball three. So the count will now go full to Juan here, 3-2. 2 outs here in the top of the first. Meeks 3-2. Will now set, deliver. That is just upstairs and outside for ball four. And so that'll be a walk for Henry Juan to put a runner on first for the Tarpskunks with 2 outs here in the top of the first. And now that'll bring up number 7, Evan Fergella, the designated hitter today for the Tarpskunks. Fergella, a .277 batting average in 23 starts, 13 runs, 18 hits, 10 RBIs, 8 walks, and 14 strikeouts this season for the Tarpskunks. He'll step in with 2 outs here in the top of the first. And Juan off first for the Tarpskunks. Meeks will set the deal. That is in there. Called strike one. Just caught the outside edge again on the fastball. 0-1 the count to Fergella. 2 outs here still in the top of the first. Any out gets Meeks out of this inning. Meeks 0-1. Will now set, deliver. That one is just upstairs and outside for ball one. So the count will even up 1-1 to Fergella. 2 outs here in the top of the first still. It is still Juan over there at first for the Tarpskunks. Meeks 1-1. Will now set, fire. That is just upstairs, ball two. That was right down the center of the plate, but just a little too high. So the count will go 2-1 in Fergella's favor. Still 2 outs here in the top of the first. Meeks will look in, 2-1. And now he will set, fire. That one is in there. Called strike two. And now the count will even up once again at deuces wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the first. The claps once again going here for Meeks. Meeks now will set, fire. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. That is the second strikeout of the day for Gardner Meeks, and that will end the top of the first inning. No runs for the Tarpskunks in the top of the first. We go to the bottom of the first, where the Pioneers will be up at the bats right after this. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the bottom of the first inning here. Pioneers and Tarpskunks still deadlocked at 0 runs apiece here. And you are currently looking at number 12, Evan Chaffee, on the mound today for the Tarpskunks in this playoffs round 1 game. Chaffee, this season for the Tarpskunks, has a 4.31 ERA, a 2-3 record in terms of wins and losses. He has made 10 appearances. He's making his 6th start here today. He's thrown 31.1 innings. He's given up 31 hits, 18 runs, 15 of those runs earned, and 18 walks. He also has 32 strikeouts this season. Leading off this inning for the Pioneers, it will be number 2, Dom Presto, the shortstop. Presto, making his 24th start, has a .246 batting average, 13 runs, 15 hits, 8 RBIs, 7 walks, 12 strikeouts, and 8 stolen bases this season for the Pioneers. Chaffee now will set, deliver. That is inside, ball 1. So 1-0 the count to Presto. Presto has recently become the leadoff man for the Pioneers because he gets on base a ton. His OBS is really up there, and that one is swung on a pop back foul, and the count will even up 1-1 to Presto. Presto draws a lot of walks and also has been really hot as of late in terms of getting base hit singles, and so that's why he has become the leadoff man. It was Matt Granado to start the year, and then Granado left the team, and since then it's been bouncing around in terms of a lot of different players getting the leadoff role, but Presto in recent games has gotten it, and that one is upstairs and outside from Chaffee, so the count will go 2-1 in Presto's favor here. No outs in the bottom of the first. Chaffee will look in 2-1. And he will now set, deliver, swung on and weakly chopped over to me. Me, a weird bounce. It will throw to first, and that is just in time. And so that'll be a ground out by Presto to put 1 out here in the bottom of the first. That was such a high hop off the infield dirt to Grady Me that Grady Me barely even got to that one. But unfortunately for the Pioneers, he did. And so now that'll bring up number 77, Joe Muzio, the third baseman for the Pioneers. Muzio making his 33rd start of the season, has a .233 batting average, 16 runs, 24 hits, 5 doubles, 1 triple, 1 homer, 17 RBIs as Chaffee will set deal. That is inside for ball 1. 1-0 the count to Muzio, 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Muzio also has 16 walks, 30 strikeouts, and 14 stolen bases. Chaffee 1-0 will now set, deal, swung on a weakly, chopped over to first. First baseman drops it, and now he will turn to Chaffee, and that is in time, and Muzio just got caught by about half a step as he and the pitcher Chaffee collided on the bag, but that will be 2 groundouts here by the Pioneers to put 2 outs in the bottom of the first. And now that'll bring up number 10, John Schroeder, the catcher here for the Pioneers today. Schroeder making his 41st start, which leads the team in that category, has a .315 batting average, 25 runs, 39 hits, 6 doubles, 7 triples, which is a team record, by the way, 1 home run, 26 RBIs, 26 walks, as Chaffee now will set, deliver. That is inside down low, ball 1. Not to mention Schroeder also has 25 strikeouts and 13 stolen bags this season. Schroeder 1-0 the count, and he is the other all-star that I mentioned earlier. Him and Gardner Meeks are the only 2 left on the roster, as that one is ball 2 down low from Chaffee. So 2-0 the count to Schroeder. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. Schroeder will step back in. Chaffee shakes off 1 pitch. And now we'll set, fire, swing and a miss by Schroeder. And the count will go 2-1 now. Schroeder will take his time and step back into the batter's box here. 2-1 the count, 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. Chaffee now will set, fire. That one is down low for ball 3. So 3-1 the count to John Schroeder. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. Chaffee will look in, 3-1 the count. And he will now set, deal, swung on a crushed into left. Going back as the left fielder, all the way back at the warning track, at the wall, it is gone! See you later! John Schroeder delivers a solo shot here in the bottom of the first, and the Are you kidding me? What a way to start a home playoff game. John Schroeder delivers a solo shot home run, and the Pioneers lead it 1-0, and this crowd has been electrified. The left fielder didn't even have a chance. He looked up at it as it went over his head and up and over the wall. Schroeder, that's his second home run of the season, which is tied for the team lead, and that is overall the Pioneers' 5th home run of the year. And now that'll bring up number 8, Cooper Smith, the left fielder. Chaffee now will set deal. That is upstairs, ball 1. 1-0 the count to Cooper Smith, who is the left fielder today for the Pioneers. Still 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. Chaffee 1-0 will set deal. Swung on a weakly, chopped over to third. Third baseman will field it. Throw to first in time. And that will end the bottom of the first inning. But the Pioneers do not come up empty. They get an electrifying lead to this ball game thanks to a solo home run by John Schroeder. We go to the top of the second. Gardner Meeks back on the mound coming up right after this.
At Arnott, we're nurses, doctors, and teams of other caregivers inspired by healing. We know your physical, emotional, and spiritual health are each part of the whole of you. To continue a tradition of medicine driven by compassion, teaching, and healing. That's why we're here. It's who we are. It's what we do.
What if white wine was not made for poultry, but for friendship? What if red wine set aside the steak and made room for love? What if we've been drinking wine wrong all along, and instead wine was to be shared as a human experience with love, integrity, and hope? Hi, my name is Greg Taylor. I'm the vineyard manager and property manager of Bully Hill Vineyards, and I'm a 4th generation winemaker and 5th generation grape grower of my family. So it all started with my great-great-grandfather George and his son Walter Taylor Sr. They came up to this region for the promise of a better life due to the rising wine industry on Keuka Lake. Walter Taylor was the one who first started the Taylor Wine Company. The Taylor Wine Company was one of the largest wineries in the United States. My great-grandfather had passed away, and my grandfather Grayton and his 2 brothers Fred and Clarence took over the company at its peak, producing around 40 million gallons of wine a year. Grayton had a son, Walter, who was my father, and he started Bully Hill Vineyards.
Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the top of the second inning here. Pioneers lead it 1-0 over the Tarpskunks thanks to a solo home run by John Schroeder. And Gardner Meeks will be back on the mound here for the Pioneers to start the top of the second. And leading off this inning for the Tarpskunks, it'll be number 20, Matt Thompson, the third baseman. Thompson, a .241 batting average this season for the Tarpskunks in 27 starts. 15 runs, 19 hits, 8 RBIs, 10 walks, and 15 strikeouts. Yes, as Meeks will set deal. Swung on a driven. That is right field side and foul. So the count will go 0-1 to Thompson. No outs here in the top of the second. I cannot believe the Pioneers get a solo home run to start a home playoff game. John Schroeder delivers when the lights are the brightest, and boy did he deliver here. Meeks 0-1 will now set deal. That one is down low for ball 1. So the count will even up 1-1 to Thompson. Still no outs here in the top of the second. I am keeping my eye on the Batavia-Auburn game. It is in the bottom of the second, or bottom of the first, excuse me, and it is still 0-0 as that one has popped up. Schroeder going for it, and he will make the play. What a catch by Schroeder, who just hit that home run, and he will put one out on the board here for Meeks in the top of the second on a pop out by Thompson. And now that'll bring up number 22, Kieran Gagnon, the left fielder. Gagnon, a .273 batting average in 24 starts, 17 runs, 21 hits, 14 RBIs, and 21 strikeouts this season for the Tarpskunks. Meeks now will set deal. Swung on a driven over to Presto at short. Presto will field it. Throw to first. Well in time. And that will be out number 2 for Gardner Meeks. 2 away here now for Meeks in the top of the second. And now that'll bring up number 39, Zach Kent, the center fielder. Kent, a .224 batting average in 26 starts, 21 runs, 19 hits, 13 RBIs, 13 walks, and 23 strikeouts this season. Meeks now will set, deal. That one is in there. Called strike one, right down Broadway on a fastball. And the count will go 0-1. Meeks will look in, 0-1. And he will now set, fire. That one is just down low and outside for ball one. I thought that was going to be called strike two, to be honest. But the count will even up 1-1 to Kent. 2 outs here in the top of the first. Meeks now will set, deal, swung on a popped up weakly into shallow infield. Musio calling for it. He will make the play, and that will end the top of the second inning. A 1-2-3 inning for Gardner Meeks. We go to the bottom of the second where the Pioneers bats will look to extend their 1-0 lead right after this. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's still the bottom of the second inning here. Pioneers lead it 1-0 over the Tarpskunks. It is still Evan Chaffee out there for the Tarpskunks to start the bottom of the second. And leading off this inning for the Pioneers, it will be number 44, Chris Bear, the second baseman. Bear is making his 20th start. He has a .315 batting average, 5 runs, 17 hits, 11 RBIs, 6 walks, 16 strikeouts, and 3 stolen bags. Chaffee will set, deal, swung on a weakly, chopped over to third. Third baseman will field it. Throw to first is in time, and that will be one away. The Pioneers so far have 4 groundouts and then Schroeder's home run. So it's been quite a polarizing game to start for the Pioneers, but that will put 1 out here in the bottom of the second. And now that'll bring up number 14, Jake Keller, the first baseman. Keller making his 34th start, has a .228 batting average, 13 runs, 23 hits, 1 RBI, 12 walks, 29 strikeouts, and 3 stolen bags this season. Chaffee will set, deal. That is inside and upstairs for ball 1. So 1-0 the count to Keller, 1 out here in the bottom of the second. Chaffee 1-0. Will now set, deliver. That is down low for ball 2. 2-0 the count to Keller. 1 out here in the bottom of the second. Chaffee 2-0. Will now set, fire. That one is upstairs, ball 3. So 3-0 the count to Keller. Chaffee trying not to give up his first walk of the ball game here. With only 1 out in the bottom of the second, and Cam Levesque on deck for the Pioneers. Chaffee 3-0 will set, deal. That is in there, just caught the upstairs inside corner. And so the count will go 3-1 now. Chaffee just able to stave off the walk. Can he do it again? Chaffee shakes off 1 pitch. And now we'll set, deliver, swung on a driven. That is right field side, but that is foul and out of play. A well-hit baseball, but just couldn't quite get it fair. So full count now to Jake Keller. 3-2, and now the Let's Go Jake chance going here at Dunn. Chaffee 3-2 will shake off 1 pitch. And now we'll set, fire, swung on a pop, that is just foul down the third base line. And so the count will stay at 3-2. Keller does stay alive as he will reset. And now Keller will step back into the batter's box here. Still 3-2 the count. Chaffee now. Another big pitch, shakes off 2 pitches. And now he will set, deliver, that is down low, outside, ball 4. That will be a walk for Jake Keller, and that'll put a runner on first for the Pioneers, with only 1 out here in the bottom of the second. And now that'll bring up number 30, Cam Levesque, the center fielder today for the Pioneers. Levesque making his 22nd start as a .231 batting average, 12 runs, 12 hits, 7 RBIs, 11 walks, 17 strikeouts, and 5 stolen bags this season for Levesque. Chaffee now will set, deliver, that is upstairs and outside, ball 1. So 1-0 the count to Levesque. 1 out here in the bottom of the second. And a runner on first in Jake Keller for the Pioneers. Chaffee looks over to Keller. And now we'll set, deliver, that is down low inside, ball 2. 2-0 the count to Levesque. The Jamestown section of the crowd here at Dunn is complaining about that call. Chaffee 2-0. Keller will take his lead off first. Chaffee looks that way. And now he will set, fire. That one is in there. Called strike 1. So the count will now go 2-1 to Levesque. 1 out here in the bottom of the second. Chaffee 2-1. Looks over to Keller. And now we'll set, deal, swung on a driven. That is a base hit in the left. And that will be a single for Levesque. No, Keller is going to turn 2, so will Levesque. And so that'll be a stand-up base hit double for Cam Levesque here to put runners on second and third for the Pioneers with only 1 out in the bottom of the second. And now that'll bring up number 42, Spencer Aubin, the right fielder. That ball was perfectly placed at that one. Just got by the third baseman, Thompson, landed fair, and then turned foul and got away from the left fielder, making it really hard for the left fielder to come in and cut the ball off. And that is what allowed Levesque and Keller to get where they are. Levesque will be on second, Keller on third, as now it'll be number 42, Spencer Aubin, at the plate, the right fielder today. Infield in, expecting a bunt. Chaffee now will set, deliver, that is upstairs inside, ball 1. So 1-0 the count to Aubin, 1 out here in the bottom of the second. And now the second baseman and shortstop come back a little bit. Still first baseman and third baseman all the way in. Chaffee, 1-0, will now set, deal, swung on a popped up, into right. I don't think this is going to be enough to get anybody home unless they drop it. No, the right fielder will catch it. It looks like the second baseman and the right fielder were going to collide for a moment. They didn't. And so that will be a pop out by Aubin to put 2 outs on the board here in the bottom of the second. But now that will bring up the hometown boy, number 24, Eric Charnetsky, the designated hitter today for the Pioneers. Charnetsky making his 16th start, has a .243 batting average, 8 runs, 9 hits, 3 RBIs, 7 walks, 15 strikeouts, and 2 stolen bags. Chaffee will now set, deliver, that is upstairs for ball 1. 1-0 the count to Charnetsky, 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Chaffee 1-0. He will look in. And now he will set, fire. That one is in there. Just caught the upstairs part of the zone. And the count will even up by 1-1 to Charnetsky. Still 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Chaffee looks in. 1-1. He will now set, fire. Swing and a miss by Charnetsky on an inside fastball, and the count will quickly go 1-2 now. 1-2 the count to Charnetsky. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Chaffee shakes off 1 pitch. And now he will set, deal, that is upstairs, ball 2. And so the count will even up at deuces wild here to Charnetsky. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. A runner still on second and third for the Pioneers. If Charnetsky can get a base hit here, that would probably score 2 runs. Chaffee will set, deliver. That is going to be inside, down low, ball 3. So 3-2 the count to Charnetsky as it will go full 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. And Chaffee, a massive pitch coming up here for him. And the Charnetsky chance going here strong at Dunn. Chaffee, 3-2. He will now set, fire. That is going to be inside, down low, ball 4. And that'll be a walk for Charnetsky that will load the bases for the Pioneers with 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. And now that'll bring up the top of the order and the leadoff man, number 2, Dom Presto, the shortstop. Like I said before, and I mentioned this earlier at the beginning of the stream, the Pioneers are only hitting 9 batters today. They are not hitting 10, they're only hitting 9. So we're already at the top of the order, and Presto grounded out in his first at-bat. Chaffee now will set, deal, swung on a pop-back foul by Presto, and the count will go 0-1. 0-1 the count to Presto. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Chaffee 0-1 will look in. And he will now set, deliver. That is going to be inside. Called strike 2. Wow. Chaffee caught a break there. That was not a good call. The count will go 0-2 to Presto. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Chaffee 0-2. He will now set, deal. That is going to be down low, ball 1. 1-2 the count to Presto. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second still. Bases loaded for the Pioneers, who are looking to extend their already 1-0 lead. Chaffee 1-2. He will now set, fire, swung on a driven over to the third baseman. Third baseman Thompson will tag him at third for the final out of the inning. So unfortunately, that'll be a ground out for Presto to end the bottom of the second. The Pioneers do come up empty in the bottom of the second, but they still lead at 1-0 as we go to the top of the third, where Gardner Meeks will be back on the mound right after this. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the top of the third inning here. Pioneers still lead at 1-0 over the Jamestown Tarpskunks. Gardner Meeks back on the mound for the Pioneers. And leading off this inning for the Tarpskunks, it'll be number 23, Drew Garth, the right fielder. Garth, this season for the Tarpskunks, had a .270 batting average in 22 starts, 16 runs, 20 hits, 15 RBIs, 8 walks as he swings and misses at pitch 1 from Meeks. So 0-1 the count to Garth. Garth also had 10 strikeouts this season. Meeks 0-1. Will now set, fire, swung on it, popped into right. Aubin will be coming under it. He will make the play, and that'll be a fly out by Garth. It's but 1 out here in the top of the third for Gardner Meeks. And now that will bring up number 27, Cooper Munro, the first baseman for the Tarpskunks. Munro had a .246 batting average this season for the Tarpskunks in 21 starts, 6 runs, 15 hits, 8 RBIs, 7 walks, and 26 strikeouts. Meeks now will set, deal, that is down low and away for ball 1. So 1-0 the count to Munro. One out here in the top of the third. Meeks now will set, deal, swing and a miss by Munro. And the count will even up at aces wild here. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here in the top of the third. Meeks looks in, 1-1. And he will now set, fire. That one is just outside. No, that is called strike 2. Meeks gets the call there on the curveball going away from Munro. So the count will go 1-2 now. Meeks looking for his 3rd strikeout of the ball game. As he will now set, deal, that is just outside for ball 2 on a fastball. And so the count will even up at 2-2 here now to Munro. 1 out here in the top of the third. Meeks 2-2. Will now set, deliver, swung on a driven over to second and Bear. Bear will field it, throw to first in time. And that will be 2 away. And so now that'll bring up the 10th batter in the Tarpskunks lineup. Like I said at the very beginning of this live stream, Jamestown is batting 10, Elmira is batting 9. And so the 10th batter for the Tarpskunks will be number 24, Colin Hoke, the extra hitter. Hoke so far, this season for the Tarpskunks has a .239 batting average and 21 starts. 9 runs, 17 hits as Meeks will set, deal, that is pop back foul. And so the count will go 0-1 to Hoke. 2 outs here in the top of the third. Hoke also had 8 RBIs, 11 walks, and 21 strikeouts this season. Meeks 0-1. Will now set, fire, swing and a miss by Hoke. He got him on the off speed to swing early. And so the count will go 0-2 to Hoke. 2 outs here in the top of the third. Meeks looking for his 3rd strikeout to end the top of the third inning. Meeks now will set, deal, swung on a driven into left. That is gonna get down. That's a base hit. And that'll probably turn 2. As the throw from Smith is not in time. Bear just missed it, and now he's gonna go to 3. And so that will be a double for Hoke as the ball is eventually cut off by Keller. But that'll be a base hit double for Hoke, who then goes over to 3rd on a E4 or an error by the second baseman. If Bear had actually fielded that throw from Smith, it was a really good throw from Cooper Smith and left. It's simply Bear couldn't quite get to it because he was trying to immediately field it and then turn to get the tag out to end the inning. But instead, there'll be a runner on 3rd for the Tarpskunks here as we go back to the top of their order. And number 38, Grady Mee, the shortstop. Grady Mee struck out in his first at-bat against Meeks earlier in the ballgame. Still 2 outs here in the top of the third. Meeks now will set, deal, swung on it, chopped over to first, and that is just foul. And so everyone will have to reset. And the count will go 0-1. Keller almost got to that. If that had actually been a fair ball, Keller would have probably gotten that, and that would have been a ground out. Grady Mee 0-1 the count. 2 outs here in the top of the third. Meeks looking for one more out to get out of this inning. Meeks now will set, deal, that is inside ball 1. So the count will even up 1-1 to Grady Mee. 2 outs here in the top of the third. Meeks 1-1. Will now set, deliver, that is in there. Called strike 2 on a curveball. And so the count will go 1-2 to Grady Mee here. Meeks looking for his 3rd strikeout of the ball game to end the top of the third inning. Meeks 1-2. Will now set, deal, that is in there. Called strike 3. He struck him out. That is the 3rd strikeout of the ball game for Gardner Meeks, and that will end the top of the third inning. We go to the bottom of the third. Pioneers back up at the bats, and they still lead it 1-0.
His vision is still seen around the Finger Lakes. Here at Bully Hill, we're excited about the future and sharing this experience with you. Bully for you.
I was actually a passenger on the bus. Sitting on the bus, I looked up and I saw, we are hiring. So I called up the number, I came in for an interview, and I started driving. My name is Randy Ramnarayan. I'm the Director of Transportation here at Transdev, and I've been here on property for 16 years. If people come up to you and say, hey, I remember you as an operator, and you did this for me, and it just overwhelms me, and it makes me so joyful to know that I made a difference. Everyone from the CEO, COO, all the way down, it's the same message. Customer engagement, employee engagement. This is what we do here at Transdev.
Have a nice day.
It's not a job that you gotta drag yourself out of bed to get here. It's you wake up every morning excited to be here. This is the most wonderful place to.
Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the bottom of the third inning here. Pioneers still lead it 1-0 over the Jamestown Tarpskunks. It'll still be Evan Chaffee out there for the Tarpskunks. And that is outside ball one to number 77, Joe Muzio, the third baseman, who will be leading off this inning for the Pioneers. Muzio grounded out in his first at-bat against Chaffee. Chaffee now will set deal. That is in there, just caught the outside edge. And the count will even up at 1-1. 1-1 the count to Muzio. No outs here in the bottom of the third, and there's going to be a bit of a delay as Chaffee dropped the baseball and it rolled away from him off the mound. He's back on. Shakes off one pitch. And now he will set deal. Bunt laid down by Muzio, and it might be enough. Chaffee will turn to first just in time. And so that will be a ground out by Muzio to put one out on the board here in the bottom of the third. It was actually a pretty good bunt laid down by Muzio, but it just couldn't quite get by Chaffee. And so now that'll bring up number 10, John Schroeder, the catcher. And Schroeder, he homered in his first at-bat to give the Pioneers their 1-0 lead. And so he'll be coming up to the coming up to the plate here with one out in the bottom of the third. Chaffee now will set deal, swung on a chopped foul. That is left field side, and the count will go 0-1. 0-1 the count to Schroeder. One out here in the bottom of the third. Chaffee now, 0-1. Will set deal. That is in there. Cold strike two on a curveball. So the count will go 0-2 to Schroeder. One out here in the bottom of the third. Chaffee now, 0-2. He will now set, deliver. That is inside, down low, ball one. Check swing by Schroeder. He did not go. So that will be ball one. 1-2 the count to Schroeder. One out here in the bottom of the third. Chaffee probably being a little bit more careful with his pitch selection here against Schroeder, second time around, considering Schroeder homered in his first at-bat. Chaffee will set, deliver. That is down low and away for ball two. So the count will now even up 2-2 to Schroeder. One out here in the bottom of the third. Schroeder will step back in. Chaffee 2-2. Will now set, deliver, swung on it, chopped over to short, and Grady Mee will throw to first in time, and that will be two away. So a ground out by John Schroeder will put two outs on the board here for Chaffee in the bottom of the third. And now that'll bring up number 8, Cooper Smith, the left fielder. Smith grounded out in his first at-bat. It's been a lot of ground outs for the Pioneers. The Pioneers have 7 ground outs so far this ball game. Smith will come up to the plate here with 2 outs in the bottom of the third. Chaffee now will set, deal, swung on it, popped into right. That might get down. First baseman go for it. No! And the first baseman will cry, but that is Cooper Munro. And so that'll be a pop out by Cooper Smith to end the bottom of the third inning. It was a 1-2-3 inning for the first time for Chaffee. We go to the top of the fourth. Pioneers still lead it 1-0. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the top of the 4th inning here. Pioneers still lead it 1-0 over the Jamestown Tarpskunks. Gardner Meeks is still out there for the Pioneers to start the top of the 4th, and leading off this inning for the Tarpskunks, it'll be number 11, Tommy Googans, the second baseman. Googans flew out in his first at-bat against Meeks. Meeks now will set, deliver. That one is in there. Cold strike one. 0-1 the count to Googans. No outs here in the top of the 4th. Meeks now will set, fire, swing and a miss on a curveball from Googans, and the count will quickly go 0-2 now. Meeks looking for back-to-back strikeouts here to put one out on the board in the top of the 4th. It would also be Meeks' 4th of the day. Meeks 0-2 will look in. And now he will set, fire, swung on a chopped over to Presto at short. Presto will field it, throw to first, it's over Keller's head, and that'll be an extra base for Googans. And so that will be a reach by air for Tommy Googans, and that'll put a runner on second for the Tarpskunks with no outs here in the top of the 4th. Presto just got that one up and over Keller's head. It's a laser beam from Presto, but it's just too high for Keller to try and field that. And so now that'll bring up number 17, Henry Juan, the catcher. Juan was walked in his first at-bat against Meeks. No outs here in the top of the 4th, so Meeks is going to have some work to do in this inning. Meeks now will look into Juan. And now he will set, deliver, swung on it, popped right to over Presto's head. That's going to be a base hit. And so that'll be a single by Juan to put runners on the corners for the Tarpskunks here. As that one just got over Presto's head. Presto jumped for the ball at short. It had just got over his outstretched glove. And so now that'll bring up number 7, Evan Fergella, the designated hitter. He struck out in his first at-bat. Still no outs here in the top of the 4th, so Meeks is going to have to try and get lucky here and get some fortunate outs to try and keep the Pioneers 1-0 lead alive. Meeks now will step in to face Fergella for the second time. It is Juan off of first as he will take his lead. Meeks now will set, deliver. That is down low and away for ball 1. 1-0 the count to Fergella. No outs here still in the top of the 4th. Runners on the corners for the Tarpskunks. Meeks looks in. 1-0. And he will now set, fire. That is in there. Cold strike one on a curveball. And the count will even up at 1-1. Strikeouts are preferred for Meeks here, as if he can get one strikeout here against Fergella, and then against Thompson, get him to ground out to short, and presto, he can turn a double play and get out of the inning. Meeks will set, deliver, swung on a pop back. That is left field side and out of play. So the count will go 1-2 now to Fergella. No outs here in the top of the 4th. Meeks looks in, 1-2. Looking for the strikeout here. It would be big to put an out on the board. Meeks now will set, deliver, swung on it, popped up in the shallow infield. Bear will be under it, and he will make the play. And now the runner at third, which is Googans, will stay at third. He didn't want to tempt Bear's arm, and so that'll be a pop out here to put one out on the board in the top of the 4th, and that is just as good as a strikeout, as it'll keep the runners where they are and put it out on the board, which now puts the double play availability for Meeks to get himself out of this inning and keep the Pioneers with a lead. And now he will just have to try and get out number 20, Matt Thompson, the third baseman. He popped out in his first at-bat. If he can get him to ground out to short and presto, they can try and turn a double play. Meeks now will set, deal. That is down low and away for ball 1, and Thompson showed bunt on that first pitch. So 1-0 the count to Thompson. One out here in the top of the 4th. Meeks will look in 1-0 as Thompson will step back into the batter's box. Meeks now will check over to first, and Keller catches that, but easily able to get back in time is Juan. So it'll still be Juan at first, Googans at third for the Tarpskunks. Thompson steps back in, 1-0. Meeks now We'll now check over to first again, and Keller once again will catch it, but no tag onto Juan. So he will still be safe over there at first. Meeks will look in. 1-0. He will now set, deal, bunt laid down by Thompson, right over to Meeks. Meeks will turn to Schroeder in time, and he is out at home. And so that will be a fielder's choice out, and that will save a run and keep this a 1-0 ball game. A great play there by Meeks to field, and then it immediately turn to Schroeder. And so that'll put 2 outs on the board at the top of the 4th, and now there are only runners on first and second for the Tarpskunks. So this is very now doable for Meeks to get out of this inning and keep the lead. And now it'll be number 22, Kieran Gagnon, the left fielder, who grounded out in his first at-bat, who Meeks will have to get out here in order to keep the lead. Meeks now will look over to second and Juan, and now set, deal, that is in there, called strike 1. 0-1 the count to Gagnon, 2 outs here in the top of the 4th. Meeks 0-1. Will now set, step off, and Juan was faked out by that, but Bear was not in a position to receive a throw, so no throw could be made. But Meeks gave the thumbs up to Bear, knowing that he got Juan to flinch. Meeks 0-1. Well, now look over to Juan again and set, fire, that is in there, just upstairs, ball 1. And so the count will even up at 1-1 to Gagnon. That was a curveball, by the way, that the umpire called upstairs. 2 outs here, still in the top of the 4th. Meeks looks over to Juan, and now he will set, fire, swing, and it's popped back by Gagnon. And so the count will go 1-2. Meeks an opportunity to pick up his 4th strikeout of the ball game and to end the top of the 4th inning here. Meeks 1-2 will look in. And now he will set, fire, swung on it, popped over to second. Bear will field it, throw to first in time, and that will get Meeks out of the inning. A ground out to end the top of the 4th. And the Pioneers still lead it 1-0. No runs in the top of the 4th for the Tarpskunks. We go to the bottom of the 4th right after this. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the bottom of the 4th inning here. Pioneers still lead it 1-0 over the Tarpskunks. It'll still be Evan Chaffee out there for the Tarpskunks, and leading off this inning for the Pioneers, it'll be number 44, Chris Bear, as he chops one weakly over to third. Third baseman drops it, and that'll be a reach for Bear. So I'm waiting to see, are they going to give him the error or the hit? And they're going to say a reach by error for Bear. But that will put a runner on first here to lead off the bottom of the 4th inning. And a very good start for the Pioneers. And now that'll bring up number 14, Jake Keller, the first baseman. Keller was walked in his first at-bat. No outs here in the bottom of the 4th. And a runner on first for the Pioneers. Chaffee will look in. There is, or at least there was, a pitcher warming in the Tarpskunks bullpen. Chaffee will set, deliver, swung on a pop back foul. That is right field side, so the count will go 0-1 to Keller. No outs here in the bottom of the fourth. Chaffee will look in as Keller gets reset. Chaffee will set, fire. That one is in there, called strike 2. Just caught the inside edge of the plate. So the count will go 0-2 to Keller. No outs here in the bottom of the fourth, and Bear off of first for the Pioneers. Chaffee shakes off one pitch. He's still looking for his first strikeout of the ball game as he will set, deal, and he gets it there. As that is a swing and a miss by Keller, so that will be the first strikeout of the ball game for Evan Chaffee, and that will put one out on the board here in the bottom of the fourth. And now that'll bring up number 30, Cam Levesque, the center fielder. Levesque doubled in his first at-bat, and it is still Bear over there at first with only one out, so this is an opportunity for the Pioneers to extend their 1-0 lead and give Meeks a little bit of room to work with. Chaffee now will set, fire, swung on a pop back foul, and the count will go 0-1 to Levesque. Levesque will step back in here. 0-1 the count, one out here in the bottom of the fourth. Chaffee looks in, and now we'll set, fire. That one is just outside for ball 1. So the count will even up at aces wild here to Levesque. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out in the bottom of the fourth. Chaffee now will step off as time is granted and now step back onto the rubber. Chaffee looks in, 1-1. And he will now set, deliver, swing and a miss by Levesque on an inside breaking ball. And so the count will go 1-2 now. 1-2 the count to Levesque. 1 out here in the bottom of the fourth. It is still Chris Bear over there at first for the Pioneers. Chaffee looks over to Bear as he takes his lead. Will now set, fire, swung on a driven over the shortstop, Mee's head. That is a base hit to the left. Grady B jumped way up high to try and get that, and that just went over his outstretched glove. And so that'll be a base hit single for Levesque, and Levesque will stay hot. He's 2 for 2 today. And now that'll bring up number 42, Spencer Aubin, the right fielder, who popped out in his first at-bat with runners on first and second for the Pioneers, with only 1 out here in the bottom of the fourth. Chaffee will look in, and now he will have a talking to here from the pitching coach. There is a pitcher warming in the Tarpskunks bullpen. This was the same pitcher that I saw warm up earlier. And so Chaffee already on a short leash here. There is no action in the Pioneers bullpen, and I'm not surprised the way Meeks has been dealing so far. So I expect Meeks to go at least 5 or 6 before anybody else comes in for the Pioneers. Chaffee, I don't know. It depends on if the Pioneers get some hits here. And, of course, I would love to see that. And the pitching coach getting really animated with Chaffee here. Umpire now going over to discuss it with him. Aubin at the plate. 1 out here in the bottom of the fourth. And runners on first and second as soon as his mound meeting is done. And still the pitching coach was really animated during that, trying to get Chaffee fired up. Chaffee now will step back on. And let's go Pio's chance. Getting going here at Dunn. Chaffee will look into Aubin. Infield in, or at least the third baseman is in, expecting maybe a bunt. Chaffee now will set, deliver, swung on a chop. That is out and out off of the bounce. No, that's going to be foul, as it did bounce. The third baseman, Thompson, grabbed it, but it was foul before he got to it. So the count will just go 0-1 to Aubin, and there will be no outs, which is a lucky break for the Pioneers, as Thompson might have been able to turn 2 there had that one been ruled fair. So 0-1 the count to Aubin. 1 out here in the bottom of the fourth. Chaffee will look in. And now he'll look over to Bear off second. Chaffee now sets, fires. That one is down low and inside for ball 1. So the count will now even up at aces wild here. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Chaffee now will set, fire, swing and a miss by Aubin on a pitch outside. And the count will go 1-2. 1-2 the count to Aubin. 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. Aubin trying to get a base hit here in order to maybe even score Bear or at least advance the runners. Chaffee 1-2 looks to Bear. And now will set, fire. That is down low and inside for ball 2. So the count will now even up at 2-2 to Aubin. And the Let's Go Spence chants going here at Dunn. Chaffee 2-2 will look in. He will now look over to Bear. And now he will set, deal, that is outside and upstairs, ball 3. A good take there by Aubin, and now a really big pitch coming up here for Chaffee. Full count, 3-2 to Aubin. If Aubin is walked, that would load the bases for the Pioneers and Eric Charnetsky, who's on deck. Chaffee 3-2. As he will now set, deliver, that is inside, in there, called strike 3, are you kidding me? That is a really rough call. That looked inside from up here. And the crowd agrees with me as they are booing the umpire. But that will be a strikeout for Chaffee. And that'll put 2 outs here on the board in the bottom of the 4th. But that will bring up number 24, Eric Charnetsky, the designated hitter. Charnetsky was walked in his first at-bat. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. Chaffee will look in. And now he will set, fire, swung on a pop back by Charnetsky, and the count will go 0-1. 0-1 the count to Charnetsky. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. Bear off second, Levesque off first for the Pioneers. Chaffee 0-1 looks to Bear, now sets, delivers, that is down low and outside for ball 1. So 1-1 the count now, as the count will even up to Charnetsky. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. We have not seen this so far in this ball game, but if a pitch does get by the catcher, there is a ton of room behind home plate that you just cannot see because my scoreboard cuts it off. Chaffee 1-1 will now check over to Levesque at first. Levesque easily able to get back in time, so he will still be safe. I don't expect many wild pitches just because of how good the catchers are. Schroeder's been fantastic for the Pioneers, blocking behind home plate all year. And Jamestown's probably throwing their best catcher as well. Swung on it, crushed into left. Going back to the left fielder, all the way at the wall. See you later, it is gone! See you later, Eric Charnetsky delivers a 3-run homer. And the Pioneers lead it 4-0. Are you kidding me? 2 home runs in the same ball game. For the first time all season, and what a time to pick it in the playoffs. Eric Charnetsky, his first home run of the season. He had always been hinting at his power, and he had never gotten a chance to deliver it. He has had few starts throughout the season, and now in the playoff, he gets his opportunity, and he delivers a 3-run homer. And the Pioneers extend their lead in the best way possible. It's 4-0 now. And now that'll bring up number 2, Dom Presto, as he will take ball 1 down low from Chaffee. I cannot believe the Pioneers have 2 home runs in the same ball game. That has never happened this season. Now it is in there, called strike 1. So the count will even up at 1-1 to Presto. And especially here at the Dunn, it's really hard to hit home runs here at the Dunn. Up until this point, up until today, there had only been 1 home run all year here at Dunn Field. Today there are 2, and in the exact same spot too, both in the left field. And the count will go 1-2 to Presto as he swung and missed. As the 3rd pitch from Chaffee. Chaffee 1-2 will now set, deliver, that is down low and outside for ball 2. The count will even up at deuces wild here to Presto. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. The Pioneers' bats have come alive here. That's exactly what I said they needed to do at the start of this stream. They have delivered so far, as that's a swing and a miss by Presto to end the bottom of the 4th with the Pioneers boy, do they not come up empty. They get a 3-run home run from Eric Charnetsky to make it a 4-0 ball game. We go to the top of the 5th. Gardner Meeks back on the mound right after this.
And pieces to fit particular and uncommon applications. The secondary location is the home of the drivetrain division, where products for Polaris and other vehicle manufacturers are made. This is a high-volume, celled manufacturing plant that produces thousands of parts daily. Over time, Hilliard's product line has diversified, but our company has stayed true to our Elmira roots. Today, Hilliard maintains its original location while continually expanding its motion control and filtration product lines in the Elmira area. Hilliard designs and manufactures for companies around the globe, occupying more than 500,000 square feet and employing about 500 people. Taking pride in serving the Elmira community for over a century, the Hilliard Corporation.
For more than a century, you've counted on Arnett Health. Counted on us to heal you, support you, encourage you, get you back on your feet. And for more than a century, Arnett has counted on you too. You're our community, our purpose, our passion. You're the reason we do what we do. Because giving our patients the best of ourselves is just who we are. Looking forward while embracing our legacy. Staying on the cutting edge while staying connected to our patients. Focusing on state-of-the-art procedures and
Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the top of the 5th inning here. Pioneers getting 2 home runs in this ball game. That's never happened before this season. That was the 6th home run of the year delivered by Eric Charnetsky. And by the way, just as of note, last year the Pioneers only had 4 home runs, so they've already beaten their record in this ball game alone. Meeks back on the mound as he will now set, deliver in there just inside for ball 1 to number 39, Zach Kent, the center fielder who popped out in his first at-bat. But the Pioneers and Meeks have a lot of room to work with now. Meeks 1-0 will set, deal. That is in there. Called strike 1 on a beautiful curveball. And so the count will even up 1-1 to Meeks. No outs here in the top of the 5th. Meeks now 1-1. Will set, fire, swing and a miss by Kent. And the count will go 1-2. That was a fastball low and away that Kent decided to go fishing on, and that was not a good decision by him. 1-2 the count to Kent. No outs here in the top of the 5th. Meeks looking for what would be his 4th strikeout. Meeks now will set, deal, swung on it, chopped. Weekly over to Presto at short. Presto will field it. Throw to first in time. A very nice play by Presto as he had to run a long way in to get that out. But he threw to first well in time. And so that'll put 1 out on the board here in the top of the 5th for Meeks. And that will bring up number 23, Drew Garth, the right fielder, who flew out in his first at-bat. Garth will be stepping in here with 1 out in the top of the 5th and no runners on for the Tarpskunks. Meeks now will set, deal. That is upstairs, ball 1. 1-0 the count to Garth. 1 out here in the top of the 5th. There is no action in the Pioneers bullpen, and they don't need it right now. Meeks 1-0. Will now set, deal. That is in there. Called strike 1 on another fastball, that time right down Broadway. The count will even up now at Aces Wild. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here in the top of the 5th. Meeks now 1-1. Will set, deal. Swung on a pop back. That is left field side and out of play into the stands. And so the count will go now 1-2 to Garth. Meeks can pick up his 4th strikeout of the ball game here, and to put 2 outs on the board in the top of the 5th. Umpire taking a moment to wipe off home plate. 1-2 the count to Garth. 1 out here in the top of the 5th. Meeks will look in. And now he will set, deliver. That is just outside for ball 2. So the count will now even up to Garth, 2-2. Still only 1 out here in the top of the 5th. Meeks 2-2. Will now set, fire, swung on it, chopped over to Bear at second. Bear will field it on the bounce, throw to first in time, and that will be 2 away. A ground out by Garth will put 2 outs on the board here in the top of the 5th for Gardner Meeks. Meeks has been dealing and dicing today. Very little trouble for him, and that's exactly what the Pioneers were looking for. And now that'll bring up number 27, Cooper Munro, the first baseman. Munro grounded out in his first at-bat. Meeks now will now set, deal, swung on a pop straight up. Schroeder going under it, and he will make the play. And that is a pop out for Gardner Meeks, and another 1-2-3 inning for him here in the top of the fifth. We go to the bottom of the fifth. Pioneers still lead it 4-0. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the bottom of the fifth inning. Pioneers lead it 4-0 over the Jamestown Tarpskunks, and already the Tarpskunks go into their bullpen here as they have struggled against the Pioneers' bats. 2 home runs today. The damage for Evan Chaffee gave up 4 runs on 4 hits and 1 error. And so now it'll be number 30, Evan Berta, who will be coming in here to relieve Chaffee and try and contain the Pioneers' power bats. Berta, so far this year for the Tarpskunks, has a 2.67 ERA, a 1-1 record in 13 appearances in 3 starts. He's pitched 33.2 innings, given up 23 hits, 11 runs, 10 hits, 17 walks, and has 35 strikeouts this year. Leading off this inning for the Pioneers, it'll be number 77, Joe Muzio, the third baseman. Muzio grounded out twice in his first 2 at-bats. Pioneers, they're going through their order faster since they only are batting 9. Berta now looks in. And now he will set, deal, that is outside ball 1. 1-0 the count to Muzio. No outs here in the bottom of the fifth. Berta looks in. And now he will set, deliver, swing and a miss by Muzio. And the count quickly evens up at 1-1. 1-1 the count to Muzio. No outs here in the bottom of the fifth. Berta looks in. And now he will set, deal, that is inside upstairs ball 2. So 2-1 the count to Muzio. No outs here in the bottom of the fifth. Berta looks in again. 2-1. He will now set, fire, swing and a miss by Muzio on a pitch down low and away. So the count will even up at 2-2 now to Muzio. No outs here in the bottom of the fifth. Berta 2-2. Will now set, fire, swung on a popped up into shallow left. The third baseman Thompson will come under and he will make the play. That is a pop out by Muzio to put 1 out on the board in the bottom of the fifth. And now that'll bring up one of the 2 Pioneers today that has a home run in number 10, John Schroeder, the catcher. Schroeder, he homered, solo shot in his first at-bat, grounded out in his second at-bat. We'll have to see how he does here against Berta. One out here in the bottom of the fifth. Berta looks in. And now he will set. Deal. That is in there just outside ball one. I'm actually surprised that was called a ball. 1-0 the count to Schroeder. One out here in the bottom of the fifth. Berta will look in 1-0. And now he will set. Deal. Swung on a pop back foul. And out of play into the stands. So the count will even up at aces wild. 1 ball, 1 strike. One out here in the bottom of the fifth. Berta looks in 1-1. And now he will set. Deal. That is upstairs ball 2. So the count will go 2-1 in Schroeder's favor. One out here in the bottom of the fifth. Berta 2-1. Will now set. Fire. Swung on it. Popped up. Straight up in the air. Catcher coming under and he will make the play. So that is a pop out by Schroeder to put 2 outs on the board here in the bottom of the fifth. And so now that'll bring up number 8, Cooper Smith, the left fielder. Smith so far today grounded out in his first at-bat, popped out in his second at-bat. Berta now will set. Deal. Swing and a miss by Smith. And the count will go 0-1. 0-1 the count to Smith. 2 outs here in the bottom of the fifth. And the catcher throws a new baseball to Berta. Berta looks in 0-1. And now he will set. Deal. Swung on a driven. That is gonna be a base hit as that gets in between Thompson and me. That'll be a base hit single for Cooper Smith to put a runner on first here for the Pioneers with 2 outs in the bottom of the fifth. A perfectly placed hit right into the left field gap, right in between shortstop and third baseman. And now that'll bring up number 44, Chris Bear, the second baseman. Bear grounded out in his first at-bat, reached on an error in his second at-bat. Still 2 outs here in the bottom of the fifth, but now Cooper Smith at first for the Pioneers. Berta now will set. Deal. Swung on a driven right back to Berta. Berta will calmly walk over and throw to first in time. And so that'll be a ground out by Bear to end the bottom of the fifth. Pioneers, they do come up empty in the bottom of the fifth, but they still lead at 4-0 as we go to the top of the sixth right after this.
Was the one who first started the Taylor Wine Company. The Taylor Wine Company was one of the largest wineries in the United States. My great-grandfather had passed away, and my grandfather Grayton and his 2 brothers Fred and Clarence took over the company at its peak, producing around 40 million gallons of wine a year. Grayton had a son, Walter, who was my father, and he started Bully Hill Vineyards in 1967. My father had a vision for the Finger Lakes wine industry. When Bully Hill was started, only 5 producers existed, and now there's over 300. And he firmly believed that you have to have a certain level of integrity and honesty with the people around you and yourself. And these are kind of the staples of what our business is. Bully Hill was built on the back of French-American hybrid vines. These varietals were developed in France in the 19th century, and they were brought over by my grandfather in the 1950s. And here at Bully Hill, we started the experimental farm, from where these hybrid varietals have made their way to almost all 50 states. As we become more environmentally conscious, we're looking for agricultural solutions that have less impact on the environment. Now, the French hybrids that my grandfather brought over in the 1950s already solved this problem ahead of time. They take half the amount of fungicide, and that was the backbone of what built Bully Hill, the French-American hybrids. My dad firmly believed that a product is an extension of a person's soul, and we still adhere to that today at Bully Hill Vineyards. His memory and his vision is still seen around the Finger Lakes. Here at Bully Hill, we're excited about the future and sharing this experience with you. Bully for you.
I was actually a passenger on the bus. Sitting on the bus, I looked up and I saw we are hiring. So I called up the number, I came in for an interview, and I started driving. My name is Randy Ramnarayan. I'm the Director of Transportation here at TransDev, and I've been here on property for 16 years. People come up to you and say, hey, I remember you as an operator, and you did this for me, and it just...
Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the top of the 6th inning here. Pioneers lead at 4-0 over the Tarpskunks. It is still Gardner Meeks out there for the Pioneers to start the top of the 6th. And leading off this inning for the Jamestown Tarpskunks, it'll be number 24, Colin Hoke, the extra hitter, who doubled in his first at-bat. That double is only one of 2 hits that the Tarpskunks have off of Meeks today. Meeks now will set, deal, swing and a miss by Hoke, and the count goes 0-1 on a curveball. Meeks 0-1. He will now set, fire, swing and a miss again on this exact same pitch, and the count will go 0-2 now. 0-2 the count to Hoke. Meeks, a chance for him to pick up his 4th strikeout of the ball game here. Meeks now will set, deal, swing and a miss. He struck him out. That is the 4th strikeout of the day for Gardner Meeks, and that will put 1 out on the board here in the top of the 6th inning. And now that'll bring up number 38, Grady Mee, the shortstop and the leadoff man for the Tarpskunks, as we are back up to the top of their order. And so far, it has not been a good day for Grady Mee, as he has struck out twice in his first 2 at-bats against Gardner Meeks. Meeks now will set, deal. That is in there. Called strike 1. Beautiful curveball, and the count will go 0-1. Meeks 0-1. Will now set, deal. That is in there. Called strike 2. Just caught the outside edge of the plate. Another beautiful pitch. 0-2 the count to Grady Mee. Can Gardner Meeks make it 3 for 3 with 3 strikeouts against Grady Mee? He'll have an opportunity here on this 0-2 count. Meeks now will shake off 2 pitches, and now will set, deal, swung on a driven into right. That is foul. And so the count will stay 0-2, and Meeks will still have that opportunity. He can pick up his 5th strikeout of the ball game, plus it would be back-to-back, and it would be his 3rd of the day against Grady Mee. Still 0-2. Meeks now will set, fire, swing and a miss by Grady Mee. He struck him out. That is the 3rd strikeout of the day against Grady Mee, and that will put 2 outs on the board here in the top of the 6th. And now that'll bring up number 11, Tommy Googans, the second baseman. Flew out in his first at-bat, reached on an error in his second at-bat. And Meeks, he's got 2 outs with 2 strikeouts in this inning. If he strikes out Googans, he will strike out the side here in the top of the 6th. Meeks now will set, deal. That is in there. Cold strike 1. Another beautiful curveball. Meeks' curveball has been deadly today for the Tarpskunks. 0-1 the count. Meeks now will set, deal, swing and a miss by Googans, and the count quickly goes 0-2. I think that was Meeks' slider. 0-2 the count to Googans. Meeks, if he strikes Googans out, he strikes out the side. Meeks 0-2 will now set, deal, swing and a miss. He struck him out. That is the 7th strikeout of the ball game for Gardner Meeks, and that is a strikeout of the side for Meeks in the top of the 6th. 1-2-3. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Pioneers still lead it 4-0. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the bottom of the 6th inning here. Pioneers lead it 4-0 over the Tarpskunks. It'll still be Evan Berta out there for the Tarpskunks, and leading off this inning for the Pioneers, it'll be number 14, Jake Keller, the first baseman. Keller was walked in his first at-bat, struck out in his second at-bat. Berta will look in. And now he will set, deal. That is ball 1 outside. So 1-0 the count to Keller. No outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Pioneers just looking to add more insurance runs for Meeks to work with in the top of the 7th. Berta now 1-0 will set, deal. That is just caught the inside corner. Keller can't believe the call, neither can I. I thought that was way inside. But the count will even up 1-1. 1-1 the count to Keller. No outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Berta now 1-1. Will now set, deal, swung on and driven into center. That's unfortunately right at the center fielder as he will make the play. And so that'll be a fly out by Keller to put 1 out on the board here in the bottom of the 6th. And so now that'll bring up number 30, Cam Levesque, the center fielder. Levesque has been hot today. He's 2 for 2 so far. He doubled in his first at-bat and then singled in his second at-bat. He'll be stepping up to the plate with 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. Berta will look into Levesque. And now he will set, deal. That is going to be inside. That almost hit Levesque. And the count will go 1-0. 1-0 the count to Levesque. 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. Berta looks in, 1-0. And now he will set, deliver. That is just caught the outside edge for strike 1. Just barely. So the count will even up at aces wild. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. Berta 1-1. Will now set, deliver, swung on a chop. That is going to get to the center, and the second baseman cannot field it. That'll be a base hit for Levesque. And he stays hot as that'll be another single for him. And he is 3 for 3 today. And that'll also put a runner on first with only 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th for the Pioneers. And now that'll bring up number 42, Spencer Aubin, the right fielder. Aubin popped out in his first at-bat, struck out in his second at-bat. Only 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. Berta now looks over to Levesque, and now will set, deal. That is upstairs and inside for ball 1. So 1-0 the count to Aubin. 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. Berta will look in. Berta 1-0. Will now set, fire. That is upstairs, ball 2. So 2-0 the count to Aubin. Still only 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. It is still Levesque off of first for the Pioneers. Berta 2-0 looks in. And now he will set, deal. That is going to be inside, down low, ball 3. 3-0 the count to Aubin. And if Aubin is walked, that would put runners on first and second for the Pioneers with only 1 out. And that bring up Eric Charnetsky, who just 3-run homered in his last at-bat. Berta 3-0 will now set, deal. That is in there, just caught the outside edge. And the count will go 3-1. 3-1 the count to Spencer Aubin. 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. Runner on first still in Levesque for the Pioneers. Berta 3-1. Will now set, deliver, swung on a pop back foul by Aubin. And the count will go 3-2. 3-2 the count to Spencer Aubin. And the Let's Go Spence, our chants are starting up here at Dunn. Berta 3-2. He will now check over to first and Levesque. Levesque able to get back in time. Cooper Munro thought he had it out there. He did not. Umpire disagreed. Berta looks in. Full count, 3-2. And now he will set, deal. Swung on a pop back foul by Aubin. He just got a piece of it off the end of his bat. And so he is able to stay alive. The count will stay 3-2. And the Let's Go Pios chants now going here at Dunn. Berta looks in 3-2. And now he will set. Deal. That is down low for ball 4. That'll be a walk for Spencer Aubin. And that will put runners on first and second for the Pioneers. With only one out here in the bottom of the 6th. And now that'll bring up number 24, the hometown boy. Number 24, Eric Charnetsky, the designated hitter. He was walked in his first at-bat and then 3-run homered in his second at-bat. And that was the hit that made it 4-0. Berta will look in. Only one out here in the bottom of the 6th. Another opportunity for the Pioneers to extend their lead. Berta now will look to Levesque and set. Fire. Swung on a pop-back foul by Charnetsky. And the count will go 0-1. 0-1 the count to Charnetsky. One out here in the bottom of the 6th. Berta looks in. Now he looks over to Levesque off second, and now sets, delivers, swung on a pop. That's a base hit into right, as that is going to get down, and that'll just be a single. No, it gets by the right fielder, and that'll score a run. That will be a base hit single for Charnetsky, and thanks to the error, it'll be an E9 by the right fielder, and that'll get Charnetsky to second, and also score a run. So the Pioneers lead at 5-0 now. That is an RBI single for Eric Charnetsky. And now Berta is going to have a mound meeting here, as there will be runners on second and third for the Pioneers with only one out here in the bottom of the 6th. No action in the Tarpskunks bullpen, and in no pitching coach either. It's just the infield talking. And now up at the plate, it'll be number 2, Dom Presto, the shortstop, the leadoff man, as he's back up already for his 4th at-bat. Presto grounded out in his first 2 at-bats, struck out in his 3rd at-bat. Charnetsky off second, Aubin off third. Berta will look in. Berta now will set. Deal. That is down low for ball 1. 1-0 the count to Presto. One out here in the bottom of the 6th. Berta looks in 1-0. And now he will set. Deal. That is outside and upstairs for ball 2. 2-0 the count to Presto. One out here in the bottom of the 6th. Berta looks in. 2-0. Infield all the way in, expecting a bunt from Presto. Berta will set, deliver. That is upstairs and inside. Ball 3. 3-0 the count to Presto. And if Presto gets walked, that would load the bases for the Pioneers with only one out. And Joe Muzio coming up to the plate. Berta looks in 3-0. And now he will set, deal. And that is going to be a hit by pitch. As Presto's, and it's going to get by the catcher. That's going to score a run. And so they're going to rule that, I believe, just an error, a reach by error. But the Pioneers lead at 6-0 thanks to that wild pitch. And no, they're going to give Presto the base hit on that. So that is going to be a single for Presto. With one out here in the bottom of the 6th. Eric Charnetsky will go to third. It'll be Presto at first. And now that'll bring up number 77, Joe Muzio, the third baseman. Muzio grounded out in his first 2 at-bats, popped out in his 3rd at-bat. Berta will look in. And now we'll set, deliver, swung on a pop-back foul by Muzio. He just got a piece of that. And the count will go 0-1. Berta 0-1 looks in. Charnetsky clapping over there at third. Berta now will set, deliver, swung on a popped up into center. And the center fielder going back. This might be enough to get Charnetsky. The center fielder will catch it. Charnetsky's going to come home. And he will score on a sacrifice fly by Joe Muzio. And the Pioneers lead at 7-0 now. They're running away with it. That'll put 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th on that sacrifice fly by Muzio. And that'll also bring up number 10, John Schroeder, the catcher. Schroeder homered in his first at-bat, grounded out in his second at-bat, and then popped out in his third at-bat. There are now 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th, and it is still Presto over there at first for the Pioneers. Berta will look into Schroeder. And now he will set, deal. That is upstairs, outside, ball 1. 1-0 the count to Schroeder. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Berta looks in, 1-0. And now we'll set, fire, swung on a driven into right center. That might get down. Center fielder going back. He cannot get to it. That's a base hit. That's at least a double. And Schroeder's going to round second. Presto's going to come home. That is a RBI double for Presto. They're going to say Presto reached home in time, and Schroeder will be out to end the inning. So I believe, I don't know whether the run got across in time. We're going to have to see whether they scored or not. I'm waiting to see. I do not believe that they will, as Schroeder got out in time. So that'll just be a fly out by Schroeder to end the bottom of the 6th. The Pioneers do not get that run. It is still only a 7-0 ball game, but the Pioneers dominating. We go to the top of the 7th, and Gardner Meeks will be back on the mound, as you can see him there right after this. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the top of the 7th inning here. Pioneers lead it 7-0 over the Tarpskunks here. And so that was actually a double for John Schroeder. It's been changed in the scorebook. The run did not get home in time, so it is still a 7-0 ball game, but it is a double for Schroeder. Meeks back on the mound as he will now set, deal, swing and a miss by Henry Juan, the leadoff man for Jamestown. And the count will go 0-1. Meeks dominating in this one, only giving up 2 hits and no runs through 6 innings. Meeks will set, deal. That is down low and away for ball 1. So the count will even up 1-1 to Henry Juan. No outs here in the top of the 7th. Meeks now will set, deal. Swung on a pop. That is left field side and foul. And so the count will go 1-2 to Juan. Meeks looking for 4 strikeouts in a row here. And it would be his 7th of the ball game. Meeks now 1-2. Will now set, deal, swing and a miss. He struck him out. That is the 4th straight strikeout for Gardner Meeks, and also his 7th of the day. And that'll put 1 out on the board here in the top of the 7th inning. 7s all around. And now that'll bring up number 7, fittingly, Evan Fergela, the designated hitter today for Jamestown. He struck out in his first at-bat and popped out in his second at-bat. Meeks will look in. And now he will set. Deal, that is inside, ball 1. Fastball inside, just missed. 1-0 the count to Fergella. 1 out here in the top of the 7th. Meeks now, 1-0, will set. Deal, swung on it, popped in the shallow left. Presto coming under it, and he will make the play just on the edge of the infield dirt, and that will be 2 outs in the top of the 7th for Gardner Meeks. Meeks might go all 9 at this point. I mean, he's dominating that much. And now that'll bring up number 20, Matt Thompson, the third baseman. Thompson popped out in his first at-bat, reached on a fielder's choice in his second at-bat. Meeks will look into Thompson. And now he will set, deliver. That is in there. Called strike 1. Beautiful curveball. That curveball has been deadly all day for Meeks. 0-1 the count to Thompson. 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Meeks 0-1. Will now set. Deal. Swung on a driven over to Presto at short. Presto fields it. Throw to first in time. And that will be a 1-2-3 inning for Gardner Meeks in the top of the 7th. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Pioneers still lead at 7-0. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the bottom of the 7th inning here. Pioneers still lead it 7-0 over Jamestown, dominating in this one. Leading off this inning for the Pioneers, it'll be number 8, Cooper Smith, the left fielder. Smith grounded out in his first at-bat, popped out in his second at-bat, and then singled in his third at-bat. And Meeks only has given up 2 hits in 7 innings of work so far, been dominating this Jamestown lineup, and I don't see any reason why Meeks can't go all 9 here against Jamestown. And that would be fantastic to save the arms for the rest of the playoffs, as that is a broken bat single into right for Cooper Smith. That one shattered his bat, and the barrel split in half, and you can see Berta just immediately threw it off screen. And so Smith will be on first with a leadoff single. And now that'll bring up number 44, Chris Bear, the second baseman. Bear grounded out in his first at-bat, reached on an error in his second at-bat, grounded out in his third at-bat. Berta now looks in, and is still having Berta out there, by the way, for Jamestown. Berta looks in. And now he will set. Deal, that is just inside, called strike 1. So 0-1 the count to Bear. No outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Cooper Smith off first for the Pioneers. Berta 0-1. Will now set. Deal. That is inside, ball 1. So the count will now even up 1-1 to Bear. Still no outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Berta looks over to Cooper Smith. And now we'll look into Bear. Berta 1-1. He will now set, deliver, swung on a driven into left center. That might get down. It will not get down, as the left fielder just got there in time. And so that'll be a fly out by Bear to put 1 out on the board here in the bottom of the 7th. And now that'll bring up number 14, Jake Keller, the first baseman. Keller walked in his first at-bat, struck out in his second at-bat, and then flew out in his third at-bat. Berta will look into Keller. Still Cooper Smith over there at first. One out here in the bottom of the seventh. Berta now. Will now set, deal. That is going to be inside, down low, ball one. That almost hit Keller. And so the count will go 1-0. Berta 1-0. He will now look over to Smith. And now we'll set, deal, swung on a driven down the third base line. That is just foul. Just barely foul. And so everyone's going to have to come back and reset. The count will even up 1-1. It's actually aces wild, so 1-1 strike, one out here in the bottom of the seventh to Keller. Cooper Smith still on first for the Pioneers. Berta will set, deal. That is going to be a single into right. And that'll be a base hit just off the end of Keller's bat. And Cooper Smith is going to go to third. And he will be safe at third. A single for Keller will put runners on the corners with only one out here in the bottom of the seventh for the Pioneers. So we're looking to just pour it on here against Jamestown at home and put on a show for this crowd. And now that'll bring up number 30, Cam Levesque, the center fielder. Levesque doubled in his first at-bat, singled in his second at-bat, singled in his third at-bat. Berta now will look in. And now he will look over to Keller. Berta now will set, deal. That is upstairs and outside, ball one. 1-0 the count to Levesque. One out here in the bottom of the seventh. Berta will look into Levesque again. 1-0. Runners on the corner. Smith at third. Keller on first. Berta will set, deal. That is swung on a popped up into right. That might be enough for Cooper Smith to get home. The right fielder will catch it. Cooper Smith is going to be stopped as the throw just got in time. And so that will just be a fly out by Levesque to put two outs on the board here in the bottom of the seventh. Just not quite enough to get Cooper Smith home. It will still be runners on the corners for the Pioneers here with two outs in the bottom of the seventh. And now that'll bring up number 42, Spencer Aubin, the right fielder. Aubin popped out in his first at-bat, struck out in his second at-bat, and then walked in his third at-bat. Berta will look in. And now he'll look over to Keller off first. Now sets, deals, swung on a driven over to third. Third baseman just gets to it. Thompson will go to first, and that will end the bottom of the seventh just barely. Unfortunately, ground out by Aubin. Will end the bottom of the seventh. No runs for the Pioneers in the bottom of the seventh. We go to the top of the eighth. Pioneers, however, they still are dominating 7-0. Welcome back to the Pioneers live stream. It's the top of the eighth inning here, and I want to start a new saying. There is a saying in the NFL called "Let Russell Wilson cook." I want to start a new saying let Gardner Meeks cook, as he has been cooking all day long here against the Jamestown Tarpskunks. He's back out there to start the top of the 8th. So far, through 7 innings of work, he has only given up 2 hits and has 2 errors. No runs given up by Meeks so far. He'll be looking to keep it that way here in the top of the 8th. Leading off against him, it'll be number 22, Kieran Gagnon, as he takes strike 1 on that deadly curveball. The count will go 0-1 to Gagnon. No outs here in the top of the 8th. Meeks 0-1. Will now set. Deal. That is in there. Called strike 2 on the exact same pitch. Exact same result. 0-2 the count to Gagnon. No outs here in the top of the 8th. Meeks 0-2 will now set. Deal. Swing and a miss by Gagnon. He struck him out. That is the 8th strikeout of the game for Gardner Meeks, and that will put 1 out on the board here in the top of the 8th. Meeks, let Meeks cook, is what the Pioneers are doing right now, and he is dicing and dealing as he has been all day long. And now that'll bring up number 39, Zach Kent, the center fielder. Kent popped out in his first at-bat, grounded out in his second at-bat as he takes strike 1 from Meeks. The count goes 0-1 to Kent, 1 out here in the top of the 8th. Meeks shakes off 1 pitch, and now he will step off the rubber, now step back on. Kent will reset in the batter's box as well. Meeks 0-1. Will now set. Deal. That is down low and outside for ball 1. So the count will even up to aces wild here. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here in the top of the 8th. Meeks 1-1. Will now set. Deliver. Swing and a miss by Kent. And the count goes 1-2 once again on that deadly curveball. That has been the whiff pitch all day for Meeks, and it's been working to perfection. Meeks 1-2 will now set. Deal. Swing and it's popped back foul. Kent just able to get a piece of it to stay alive. This would be Meeks' 9th strikeout of the day if he gets it here against Kent on this 1-2 count. And Meeks at this point, I think he's going to go all 9. I really, really do. 1-2 the count. Meeks now will set, deliver, swung on it, driven into left. That might get down. It will get down foul. And so Meeks catches a break there, as that one was just about 1.5 feet left of the third base foul line. And so now everyone's going to have to come back and reset. Still 1-2 the count to Kent. 1 out here in the top of the 8th. Meeks 1-2. Looking for that 9th strikeout. Shakes off 1 pitch. And now he will set. Deliver. That is down low and away for ball 2. So the count will even up at deuces wild. Or no, not deuces wild. Just 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count to Kent. 1 out here in the top of the 8th. Meeks will now set, deliver, swung on it, popped up into right center. It will be Aubin coming under it. He will make the play. And so that'll be a fly out by Kent to put 2 outs on the board here in the top of the 8th for Gardner Meeks. And now that'll bring up number 23, Drew Garth, the right fielder. Garth flew out in his first at-bat, grounded out in his second at-bat. And the thing about Meeks potentially going all 9, and I think he will at this point, is it saves so many arms in the bullpen for the later games for the Pioneers. Not only does it save games for tomorrow's potential game against either Auburn or Batavia, but it also saves them for a potential championship run against potentially Auburn, or Amsterdam, I should say. And so this has been a pitching saving performance by Meeks. It's been fantastic to watch. That one was down low and outside for ball 1. Meeks will set deal. That is crushed into right. Aubin coming under it, and he will make the play. That is a fly out by Garth to end the top of the 8th inning. Another 1-2-3 inning for Gardner Meeks. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Pioneers crushing 7-0.
Owned and and operated since 1905. At the Hilliard Corporation, we've proven ourselves time and time again as the leading industrial manufacturer in the Elmira and Southern Tier region. We make the products you need with the quality you and your business deserve. Industrial clutches and brakes, drivetrain products, filtration equipment, engine starters, braking systems. We engineer, manufacture, and distribute them. All of the products we manufacture are designed right here, so we truly know.
Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the bottom of the 8th inning, and it just got announced here. Auburn is beating Batavia 4-2 in the bottom of the 7th inning of that game. If that score holds and the Pioneers get 3 more outs in the top of the 9th, then they will be hosting the Auburn Doubledays back here at Dunn Field for the Western Division Championship game tomorrow night. And Blaze Brockway has once again bought out all the seats here at Dunn Field. So if it is a host game for the West Division Championship tomorrow night, admission will be free for everyone who comes. And so obviously we are still waiting to see whether Auburn can hold on in that game. Obviously Pioneers, they are 3 outs away from winning this one. And so really, they're looking to dominate. A new pitcher on the mound for the Jamestown Tarpskunks here in Will Saxenmeyer. He'll be stepping in here to relieve Berta. Saxenmeyer, a 4.33 ERA, an 0-1 record. 8 appearances, 7 starts, 27 innings pitched, 24 hits, 15 runs, 13 earned runs, 18 walks, and 13 strikeouts are the stats for Saxenmeyer. Leading off this inning for the Pioneers, it'll be number 24, the hometown boy, Eric Charnetsky, the designated hitter. He was walked in his first at-bat, 3-run homered in his second at-bat, and then RBI singled in his third at-bat. Saxenmeyer now will set, deal, that is in there, called strike 1. 0-1 the count to Charnetsky. No outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Pioneers, they don't need to get any more runs. Meeks, all he will need is 3 outs in the top of the 9th, as that is ball 1 upstairs. So this half inning is not really going to make much of a difference for the Pioneers. If they add on more runs, great. There is no mercy rule in the playoffs, so we will be playing the top of the 9th inning. Saxenmeyer will set, deal. That is a swing and a miss. And so the count will go 1-2 to Charnetsky. And now everyone here, it's the top of the 8th inning now. Auburn still holds 4-2 over Batavia. And Batavia, they're regretting not losing to Niagara yesterday. I said before that they might regret that decision earlier before we started this game. They're regretting it right now. And the count will stay 1-2 to Charnetsky. Saxenmeyer looking for his first strikeout and his first batter. Saxenmeyer now, 1-2. Will now set, deal, that is in there. Called strike 3. He struck him out. That is the first strikeout for Saxenmeyer, and that will put 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th. And once again, like I said, this inning doesn't really matter at the end of the day. This game is effectively over. Gardner Meeks needs 3 outs in the top of the 9th to end it and to save the rest of the Pioneers pitching staff, which would be amazing. Leading off, it'll be number 2, Dom Presto now, as he will immediately line one into left. Is that going to get down? No, it will not. It is foul, just foul. It was all the way into the corner in left, but that it just got down foul, about 3 feet left of the line. So the count will go 0-1 to Presto. 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th. Presto 0-1. Saxenmeyer will now set, deliver. That is in there. Called strike 2 on a curveball. And the count will go 0-2 to Presto. 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th. Saxenmeyer 0-2 will now set, deal. Swung on a pop back, foul by Presto. And so he will stay alive. The count will stay 0-2 to Presto. 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th. Saxenmeyer 0-2 will now set, deal, swing and a miss by Presto. He goes down swinging. That is a strikeout. Back-to-back strikeouts actually for Saxenmeyer. And that'll put 2 outs on the board in the bottom of the 8th. And now that'll bring up number 77, Joe Muzio, the third baseman. Muzio grounded out in his first 2 at-bats, popped out in his third at-bat, and then sacrifice flied in his 4th at-bat. And I am currently looking at the Auburn-Batavia game. It's still 4-2 in the top of the 8th. Auburn has a runner on first with no outs, and that's a swing and a miss by Muzio. 0-1 the count. 0-1 the count to Muzio. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Saxemeyer now will set, deliver. That is upstairs for ball 1. So the count will even up 1-1 to Muzio. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Saxemeyer now. 1-1. Will now set, deliver. That is down low, ball 2. So 2-1 the count to Muzio. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. And once we get through this bottom 8th inning, then we go to the top of the 9th. There will just be 3 outs left of the Jamestown Tarpskunks season as Muzio lines one that is foul down the right field line. So the count will even up at deuces wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. And let's go Joe chants going here once again for Muzio. Saxemeyer 2-2 will now set, deal, swing and a miss by Muzio. It's a drop through, so the catcher will have to throw to first. It is in time, and so that'll be 3 straight strikeouts as Saxemeyer strikes out the side in the bottom of the 8th. We go to the top of the 9th. The Pioneers are 3 outs away from advancing and potentially hosting a division championship game tomorrow. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream, or it should be called the Gardner Meeks Pitching Exhibition, as he has thrown all 8 innings so far, and he's out there for the top of the 9th. He has dominated this Jamestown lineup. He is 3 outs away from sending the Pioneers to a Western Division Championship game that, if the score holds with Auburn over Batavia, it will be back here at Dunfield tomorrow night. Like I said before, if it is back here at Dunfield, then tickets will be free thanks to Blaze Brockway. Meeks now will set, deal, swing and a miss by number 27 Cooper Munro, the first baseman who is leading off for the Tarpskunks this inning. 0-1 the count. Meeks 0-1. Will now set, deal, check swing. They're going to say he went, and so that will make the count 0-2 now to Munro. Meeks looking for what would be his 9th strikeout of the ball game. 0-2 the count. Meeks now will set, deal, swing and a miss. He struck him out. That is the 9th strikeout of the ball game for Gardner Meeks, and the Pioneers are 2 outs away from advancing. And now that'll bring up number 24 Colin Hoke, the extra hitter. Doubled in his first at-bat, struck out in his second at-bat. As that one is just down low for ball 1 to number 24, Colin Hoke. That one is in there just down low for ball 2. 2-0 the count to Hoke on 2 pitches that are just a bit down low in the zone from Meeks. Meeks 2-0. Will now set, deliver. That is in there, cold strike 1. 2-1 the count to Hoke. One out here in the top of the ninth. Meeks 2-1. Will now set, deal, swing and a miss by Hoke, and the count goes 2-2 now. The count will even up 2-2 to Hoke. One out here in the top of the ninth. Meeks 2-2. Will now set, deliver, swing and a miss. He struck him out. That is the 10th strikeout of the ball game for Gardner Meeks, and the Pioneers are 1 out away from advancing to the Western Division Championship game. The crowd is electrified here at Dunn Field. They know they can taste the Division Championship game. It's just one more out away from Gardner Meeks, and it'll be against the guy who has struck out 3 times today. Number 38, Grady Mee, the shortstop, struck out all 3 in his first at-bat. Swung on a driven right field side. That is foul. And the count will go 0-1. 0-1 the count to Grady Mee. 2 outs here in the top of the ninth. And everybody's still watching the Auburn-Batavia game. Auburn still leads it 4-2. Meeks 0-1. Will now set, deal, swung on it, popped up into center. This should do it. Levesque underneath. He will make the play. And the Pioneers win it. The Pioneers win it. They are going to go on to the conference, or excuse me, to the Western Division Championship game. If the score between Auburn and Batavia holds, it'll be back here at Dunfield. If Batavia manages to come back, it will be at Batavia tomorrow night. But either way, the Pioneers dominate. They crush Jamestown. Get out of here. See y'all next season. They are done. And now looking at the playoff bracket real quick. The Pioneers, you can see I wrote them in there. They have advanced to the second round to the Western Division Championship game, awaiting to see what happens between Auburn and Batavia until tomorrow night, either here at the Dunn or on the road at Batavia. I am Alex Chiproot, and I will see you all for at least one more game tomorrow night.